Hi, welcome to part 2 of Your Whole Self. This is a series of videos where we're moving the conversation about personality beyond extroversion and introversion. Now, you're in part 2. Part 1 was all about extroversion and introversion just to give us some baseline information. And so today we're going to explore additional facets of personality. So go back to part 1 if you haven't seen that already. We're going to get our information today from the book Introduction to Type by Isabel Briggs Myers in terms of some of the specific bullet points that you're going to see on the screen. And we'll also reference Introduction to Type and the 8 Jungian functions. We're not going to go into a lot of detail on it, but I want to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit's due. So let's go ahead and explore the next facet of personality, and that's sensing and intuition, which is all about how you take in information, and it's really the information that you use most easily and trust the most. So for the people who prefer sensing, they're all about taking information that's real and actual. It's here and now. It's taking place. It's taken in with their 5 senses, and it's really much more of a present focus, and they're really focused on facts. They tend to reference facts in order to build to the conclusions that they have, and they tend to trust their experience. Whereas those who prefer intuition have more of a big picture focus. They like to look at the connections between the facts and the information. They tend to be really excited and really easily pull through ideas about possibilities and have that big picture future orientation. So they're more likely to trust inspiration. So those are the brief overviews for sensing and intuition. So what do you do with this information? Well, here are a few key things to know. One is that you do both. So when it comes to this part of personality, these are your functions. And when it comes to functions, you use both of them. And you don't use both of them equally. You start with one, and then you can wrap up with the other. So for example, someone who prefers sensing is going to start with the facts, the details, the current situation before they move on to all the possibilities and what the future might hold. Whereas somebody with a preference for intuition is going to start with the big picture, with the possibilities, and then they'll fill in with the facts and information. So it's good to know which one you actually prefer because you might not ever engage that second one sometimes. So it's good to know what your preference is because then you can always try to remember, oh, I got to make sure I'm considering the facts, or, I should really be thinking about what the possibilities are too. It's also good to know what your preference is here because then you can always lean on others. If you're not good at flexing into that opposite preference, then ask somebody who is. So for example, I have a preference for intuition, so I'm great at possibilities and big picture. I love that space. However, I can forget to really take a look at the facts and figure out where I'm really at right now. And I can count on friends and family who have a preference for sensing and colleagues and peers who have a preference for sensing to help me get more grounded in the reality and the facts of the situation. A couple other things to know is that you direct one of these outward and one of them inward. So even though you prefer sensing or intuition, that sensing is directed either outward or inward, and the intuition, because you still use it, is directed outward or inward. And this is where the conversation gets to be a lot more in depth. So we won't capture it here, but it's important for you to realize that this is a function of extroversion and introversion. So extroversion and introversion matter, but they're not all there is to your personality. So the other thing to remember is that you're taking in all this information. What do you do with it next? Well, you tend to make decisions next, right? That's why we're taking in information. And that's what we're going to talk about next time. All about how we make decisions. So if you want to learn more, you can always head on over to my website, elisetouche.com, where you can learn more about what I do, how I work, and whether or not we might want to work together. The main thing you need to know about me, though, is my purpose. I am a purpose and leadership coach, and I do have a purpose. And my purpose is to help you appreciate yourself, to help you appreciate the differences in others, and to help you guys come together to move each other and the rest of the world to a better place. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.